Let's recall our motivation. And remember that we're able to be here and listen to teachings and practice the Dharma due to the kindness of other living beings. It was in previous lives, it was in relationship to other living beings that we created the virtuous karma that ripens in our being able to have a precious human life and have this opportunity. And in this life also, our ability to be here depends on the people who grew the food, who offered the food. Our teachers from the time we were little that taught us how to use language. The people who built the building, and on and on and on. So there's so many different factors coming from so many different directions. Some of them karmic, some of them in terms of people's actions in this lifetime that are creating this very transient and impermanent opportunity that we presently have. So we're here today, we don't know if, even though we have lots of plans to be here tomorrow and finish the course, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. So it's important to make the best out of the situation we're currently in. And we do this by expanding our heart to include all living beings and to generate the highest motivation of full awakening as the best way to make our lives meaningful for all beings. So do that now. So, we may be irritated from time to time, or actually quite frequently. But when we think, how is that a valid basis for self-esteem? Yeah? I'm so good because when I compare myself to President Trump, I don't tweet as much. And I don't, say those things. I mean, Our sense of self-esteem can't be based on that kind of rubbish. Okay? So, we have to, what Venerable Daoshin said, establish yourself as a banner of the Dharma, attain a Buddha's life of wisdom, and cause the lineage of the three jewels to continue without interruption so that sentient beings can benefit. That's what other people did for us. It's the least we could do for them. Okay. To do so is the true going forth. Okay? You want to know what it means to go forth? That's the true meaning of going forth. And what comes from that? You will then become a merit field for sentient beings in the 6 realms. The seed of the cause of the 3 vehicles, worthy of offerings from the faithful, and will not let down the 4 kinds of people to whom you are indebted. Okay? So let's go back through that. You will then become a merit field for sentient beings in the 6 realms. If we practice purely, then, we become the merit field. Then if people bow, if they make offerings or whatever, they accumulate merit. If we don't, by means of our practice, become a merit field, but we continue to accept offerings and respect, then we're phony baloney. we're deceiving others. So it doesn't mean we have to be perfect, but we have to do our best, and not take advantage of other people's faith. Okay, but imagine how wonderful it would be if we could become a merit field for others. Yeah, if we practiced so well that when others saw us, that they said, "Wow, I want to be like that person." Yeah, and then we would feel not like, "Oh, I'm so great, they want to be like me," not arrogant like that, but we would feel like, "Oh, I was able to make my life meaningful. Yeah, somehow somebody else is benefiting from my life. That's wonderful." Okay. We become the seed of the cause of the three vehicles. Yeah? So the hearer, solitary realizer, and bodhisattva vehicles. Yeah? So if we practice well, we can become the seed of that cause in others. In other words, we can inspire others to practice in that way too. Yeah? Are there people that inspire you? You look at their practice and you say, "Wow, I hope I can be like that. Maybe I can't do it this life, but some lifetime I'll be able to. Or maybe I can do it this life." Yeah, and those people give us an image of what we can become, and it's so uplifting. And wouldn't it be nice to repay the kindness of others, to be able to make them feel uplifted in that way? We become worthy of offerings from the faithful. Yeah. Now, when they say that, it doesn't mean like, "Oh, good, I'm worthy of offerings. Here, please put your offerings here. I need a bigger bowl." Yeah, it's not like that, but it's because we receive so much from other sentient beings. Our way of repaying that is through our practice. So if we can become worthy of those offerings, then it's something quite important. Yeah. And we will not let down the four kinds of people to whom you are indebted. Okay, so the four kinds of people we're indebted to: the three jewels, clearly, because they give us the teachings and lead us on the path. Virtuous government officials. Notice the word virtuous. Okay? People who are able to run the country in a fair and equitable and generous way. Our parents who reared us, who went through who knows what to bring us up. Yeah? Were you an easy kid to bring up? Yeah. They had to put up with us and all of our trips as kids. And the fourth group that we're indebted to, all sentient beings, because of the kindness they've all shown us in this life and previous lives. Therefore, the Buddha said, if someone offers the four requisites to as many arhats as can fill the four continents of the world for 100 years, this merit cannot equal the merit of someone who strongly aspires to go forth for a day and night. Okay, so if somebody offers the four requisites, food, clothing, shelter, medicine, okay, to as many arhats as can fill the four continents of the world. Yeah, remember with Mount Meru, and you have the four continents. As many arhats as can fill those. Okay. For 100 years, so they're offering the four requisites for 100 years to all these arhats. This merit cannot equal the merit of someone who is, here it has, who strongly aspires to go forth for a day and night. I think it might actually be someone who is ordained for a day and night. In the Tibetan tradition, they usually talk about it that way, somebody who is ordained for even one day in this degenerate age creates so much more merit than, people who practiced at the time of the Buddha, or people who made these kind of offerings, even to arhats. Yeah. That's hard to believe, isn't it? You'd think, wow, if you made offerings to arhats, you would create so much merit, especially doing it for 100 years. But somebody like us in this degenerate time, keeping precepts for even one day, how could that be more merit than that? Yeah, maybe when you really think of it, how could that be? How could that be? Yeah. So then you see the power of the intention to live in ethical conduct, the power of the intention to go forth and attain full awakening. Yeah, it's quite powerful and very virtuous to do. Also, the Buddha said, if someone erects a 7-jeweled stupa as high as the God realm of the 33, it cannot equal the merit of going forth, which is far greater. Okay? So, building holy objects creates an incredible amount of merit, but practicing the Dharma by going forth, practice and living in ethical conduct creates even greater merit than that. Yeah. So this is something to think about, because sometimes we don't really appreciate our opportunity to be ordained. We don't appreciate the merit that we're creating by being ordained and how important that merit is. Yeah. But when you think that it's more merit than these kinds of things, which are so meritorious, then it kind of wakes you up of like, wow, what an amazing opportunity I have to practice like this. I should not blow it. And so when your mind becomes troubled and you think, oh yeah, I'm so tired, oh, I want my old life back, and can't I go to the movies some more, and I'm going to go out with my friends and have a beer, I can't do that anymore, and I can't do this and I can't do that. If you're thinking like that, then you've completely missed the how powerful being ordained is in terms of creating merit and purifying the mind. And what are we wanting to do instead? Hang out at the pub and drink beer? Yeah. And how does that really bring happiness? Huh? I mean, when you think about it, what we normally do for pleasure is so foolish. Talking to the kids and to Sage and Cora at lunch, and they were getting so excited telling us about the theme park that they went to, And I was thinking, because I remember going to Disneyland when I was a kid, and it was the ultimate, It was like when Mom and Dad took you to Disneyland. That was the absolute, ultimate, best thing that could ever happen to you. And now I look at it, and it's like, yeah, you go on the Matterhorn so you can get terrified and scream your head off, and you call that fun. Yeah? And you go and you wait in line for who knows how long, and then the ride's over in 2 minutes, Maybe it's the merry-go-round or the Ferris wheel or something. But you go through all this headache of, waiting in line for a half an hour, and then you have 2 minutes of fun, and then it's over. And all you have is a story to tell your friends and share at, Share and Tell on Monday morning. You remember Share and Tell? What? Show and Tell. Yeah. So all you can show is just your ticket stubs. Or maybe you were lucky enough to get a Mickey Mouse book, or have you had your picture taken with Mickey or with Minnie, So we look at kids and we go, oh yeah, that's just childish. But look who adults want to have their picture taken with, so that they can post it to Instagram and say, look who I was with. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, Richard Gere. So, we don't realize what creates merit, and how the privileged opportunity we have to create it, and how important it is. Yeah. So sometimes, when you think about these things, then we begin to see how thick our ignorance is. Forget about even ignorance of the ultimate nature, just ignorance of karma and its effects. How we don't understand it. More can be found in the canon. I will not quote more now. Know yourself to be honorable and outstanding like this. Generate the feeling of preciousness and respect, and do not despise yourself. Okay, this one needs to be typed up and put on the bathroom mirror, everywhere in the Abbey. Because this is hitting at what I think is one of our biggest hindrances. Okay? Know yourself to be honorable and outstanding like this. Do we feel like we're honorable and outstanding? I'm not talking about generating a false sense of arrogance. I'm talking about appreciating the virtue that we have and rejoicing in it. Okay, it's not like, I'm a monastic, I am honorable and outstanding. Yeah, here's my bowl. Yeah. So it's not that. It's not creating a big ego. It's really appreciating the three jewels in our teachers for guiding us, so that we can make our lives meaningful, and that we're creating virtue, and we need to rejoice at the virtue that we create, and stop all this nonsense. Yeah, do not despise yourself. All this nonsense of, oh, I'm such a lousy practitioner. Yeah, Shantideva wrote so much, all these mathematical equations about how much merit I destroy every time I get angry. I'm just hopeless because I'm angry most of the time, and I don't even deserve to wear these robes anyway. I don't like the color. I'm totally unqualified. My precepts are a wreck. I'm a wreck. I can't do anything right. Yeah, my teacher made a mistake ordaining me. What a disaster I am. Yeah, these kind of thoughts. You know those kind of thoughts? Yeah, we know these kind of thoughts too well, don't we? We know them very well. This, I'm incapable, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, it's too hard. Yeah, Dharma is too hard. Yeah, can't they make it simpler? Who made Dharma hard? We all go at our own speed. We do what we can. It's not a question of hard and easy. We just do what we can. Oh, but somebody's doing more than I do. Yeah, they get to teach more than I get to teach. They get to travel more than I get to travel. They get more offerings than me. They get more respect than me. They sit further up in the line than me. People acknowledge them. They ignore me. I'm just so unworthy, such a disaster. Thank you for leaving some for me.
I need them.
Okay. But you gotta share them.
I don't know how. I'm a disaster. I'm not worthy.
No, I'm worse than you are. Yeah. You wear your robe so nice, I can't even keep my collar straight the whole time I was in Taiwan. They were fixing my collar. They even had to show me how to wash my clothes. I couldn't do that correctly. Yeah. Okay, so, all this stuff, we waste so much time. Yeah, so know yourself to be honorable and outstanding like this. Rejoice in your own virtue. Yeah, generate the feeling of preciousness and respect. So respect your ordination. See the preciousness of keeping it. Yeah. Instead of going, oh, but other people get ordained and I don't. I just have 5 lay precepts. They have more precepts than me. Oh, it's not fair. Oh, what does that get us? Yeah, instead we should see, wow, I have 5 lay precepts. This is fantastic. Or I have anagarika precepts. That's great. How wondrous. I really rejoice that I have these and I get to practice and create the merit. Yeah. So not all this, spiritual competition is really not worthwhile. Okay. So then things go on. Yeah. And then there's another verse here. So I'm not describing the whole ceremony to you. I'm just picking out some of the verses. This one, unfortunately, didn't get translated before. It will be it will be set to a tune. Okay? But it goes, how wonderful, great, courageous one. You are able to understand that the world is impermanent. Abandon the worldly life and proceed to nirvana. This is rare and hard to comprehend and speak about. How wonderful, great, courageous one. Here's the Acharya telling us that we're courageous. Yeah. So here's somebody who's practiced longer, is wiser than us, telling us we're courageous. Why are we courageous at this point? We're in the middle of, going through the going forth ceremony. We're courageous because we're standing up to samsara. Yeah, we're courageous because we're seeing that ignorance, anger, and attachment are our enemies, and we're going to counteract them. Okay? We're not going to take the easy way out, which is actually the hard way out. People say, oh, Dharma's so hard. But actually, Dharma's easy because it leads you to happiness. Yeah? Samsara is hard because, you lie around and you enjoy all this pleasure and, you help your friends and harm your enemies. But then you have to bear the results of doing all of that. And that's hard. Yeah? So actually, they're calling us courageous for standing up to the afflictions. In one way, it is courageous. In another way, it's the easy way, because who wants to keep going through samsaric suffering again and again and again? Yeah, much easier to end samsara than to continue in it. Okay, you are able to understand that the world is impermanent. That there is no security in samsara. And that's the reality of the situation. So rather than fight the reality of the situation, desperately trying to get some security. Much easier just to relax into the situation and know that everything is changing all the time. I remember being with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen for a long time, and we were catching up, and I forget what she asked me. It's something like, well, what are you grounded in? And I started to talk about my feeling of groundedness, and then I stopped and I said, actually, I'm in free flow, and we're in free flow all the time. Free fall. Well, free flow too. Yeah. We're flowing and we're falling. Yeah. So in one way, we're grounded. We're grounded in the understanding of impermanence. But, our actual reality is that everything's changing all the time due to multiple causes and conditions that are beyond our control. And if we can accept that and welcome that instead of fight it, then we're going to be a whole lot happier. So it's like aging. Yeah? And I think here is sometimes the people who got recognition and success when they were young, sometimes it's the hardest thing for them when they're old. Yeah? I mean, you were talking the other time about your aunt who, when she could no longer be the matriarch of the family, she didn't know who she was. You see these athletes who are so famous and rich when they're young, and then, after age 35, 40, you are over the hill, and maybe they'll write a few newspaper articles about you and show pictures of what you used to look like. But now you have a pot belly and, and you're unhappy. All you have is a scrapbook and these old videos to look at of, oh, look, yes, that's when I did the touchdown. Yeah, but look at you now. Your whole body is, it's aging. You're not that big, strong athlete, that everybody thinks is so fantastic. So, whatever we're holding on to, sometimes it's, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so intelligent, I'm a professor, I'm a this, I'm a that. Yeah, and then when you start having those senior moments, well, I walked into this room. Why did I walk in here? Yeah. Oh, you're laughing. I have these senior moments all the time. Yeah. Do you remember so-and-so? Well, my excuse is I never learned their names to start with. I'm bad at names. That's what I say. I'm bad at names. I can't remember people's names. And I basically never listen anyway when I'm introduced. I'm too busy looking at them. So I never even listen to the names. So I have a reason. I have an excuse, you see. It's not really that I'm getting more forgetful. Yeah. It's just when I'm in the middle of talking about something and then, I have to remember what I was talking about. Yeah. You know that one? Yeah. You know that one? Okay. So, we're living in the midst of impermanence. And the more we can just accept it and age gracefully, then the better off we're going to be. Because if we can't age gracefully, we're going to be angry, we're going to be bitter, we're going to complain all the time, and nobody's going to want to be around us, including ourselves. But the problem is we have to live with ourselves. Whereas if we kind of just accept, okay, everything's fallen apart, let's have a good time while it's falling apart. Let's learn to laugh at it. Let's learn to see it as part of my practice. then we won't have such a hard time. Okay, so you're able to understand that the world is impermanent. Abandon worldly life. Yeah, and proceed to nirvana. So, like I was saying before, abandon worldly life it's based on having a very expansive view of who we are. We aren't just this one person of this lifetime, with this mother and this father who likes this food and can't stand that food, and we're not that person. There is a mental continuum, that goes from the past to the present into the future, that has no fixed personality, that is not a soul, that does not have any unique identifiable marks as being truly me. And seeing that kind of thing doesn't exist, or this continuum exists. But any kind of real meanness that's going to keep going has never existed to start with. So if we have this big view of life, meaning not just starting at this life's birth and ending at this life's death, but of life as being this expansive thing, then it helps us really see what's important and what's not important. And the things that bug us on a day-to-day basis, in the long term, we don't even remember. Even in this life. Do you remember 15 years ago to this day, I'm sure we had something to complain about. Do you remember what you were complaining about 15 years ago to this day? What you were unhappy about? So, but if you think, okay, these things that are bugging me so much this lifetime, next lifetime, are we even going to remember this lifetime and who we were? Let alone what's bugging us now? No. So why are we, dwelling on these things so much now? It doesn't really matter. Okay, so abandon the worldly life and proceed to nirvana. Drop the rubbish and go forward. This is rare and hard to comprehend and speak about, isn't it? Difficult to comprehend. Because our mind is so stuck in the appearances of this life, the vision of this life. So stuck. We feel there's a real me here in this real situation, in this real world. And everything that happens to this real me is of utmost importance. So, they didn't make exactly what I wanted to eat at lunch. And this is, the big sin of the day. And how our mind goes around and around about it. Or this happened to me when I was a kid. Around and around and around. Next life you won't even remember it. Okay. So then there's another verse here. This also is one that you're making music for now. Okay. It says, take refuge in the great world-honored ones who are able to cross over the suffering of existence in the three realms. May all sentient beings completely enter the bliss of nirvana. Okay. And so the previous verse was being chanted while the Acharya with water sprinkles and writes Buddha Dharma Sangha above the crown of your head. This one when you are bowing to the Buddhas. So take refuge in the great world honored ones. Yeah, and the Buddhas, that's our object of refuge. Yeah, why? They're able to cross over the suffering of existence in the three realms. So desire realm, form realm, formless realms, they're done with all of that. Been there, done that, have too many t-shirts from it already. Yeah, let's go to nirvana. I don't need any t-shirts there. Yeah. So you're free. I mean, that's real freedom. And it's not just my freedom, because it's, take refuge in the Buddhas who have overcome samsara and gone to the other shore. And may all sentient beings completely enter the bliss of nirvana. So our ordination is not for our own sake only. Yeah. It's a pratimosha, an individual ordination, but we're doing it with a Mahayana motivation. Okay, completely bringing all sentient beings into it. Okay, then you go into the part where your head gets shaved. Actually, your head's shaved before, but now the little tufts are getting shaved. Okay, so the Acharya says, the reason for shaving the head is to eliminate arrogance and conceit. The reason for wearing unattractive monastic clothes is to eliminate clinging and attachment. Before long, you will have deportment and appearance no different from those of the virtuous ones and sages of the three vehicles. Feel happy and rejoice for yourself. Okay, again, beautiful encouragement. The reason for shaving the head is to eliminate arrogance and conceit. Yeah, because whether we're men or women, we base a lot of our appearance on what our hair is like. Yeah, it has to be the right color. It has to be the latest style. We judge other people by their physical appearance. Somebody looks old and unattractive. They look young and attractive. So much judging other people by their appearance and trying to make ourselves externally attractive so that people will think that we're good. Yeah. We want friends. How do you be friends? You look like the people in the magazines. Isn't it? From the time we were young, we look at the people in the magazines and we think, oh, I should look like them. You look at the movie stars and the sports heroes, oh, if I only look like that. Of course, all their pictures have been, what's it called? Airbrushed. Yeah, brushed. Airbrushed. Yeah. So you don't see the wrinkles, There's 60, but there's actually no wrinkles. Yeah, they have tons of gray hair, but it's all dyed, the latest color of green or whatever is supposed to be that year. Okay, so, we really use our physical appearance, to create an identity to attract other people to us. So the reason for shaving our head is to get rid of all that conceit and vanity and arrogance of, being attractive. And welcome to the world of being in America as a Buddhist monastic, where people don't have a clue what you are. I must say things are better now. Yeah? When I first ordained, I got so many people saying Hare Krishna. Yeah? Now, nobody says Hare Krishna because the Dalai Lama, people know the Dalai Lama. They know His Holiness. Yeah. So instead, sometimes people will come up to me and say, do you know the Dalai Lama? Whatever. Yesterday, at the dentist, okay, I was sitting in the waiting room and one older woman was checking out, and And then she looked at me and she said, "Sister, hello."
Aww.
Yeah. And she said, "I used to be a sister too." Yeah. So she had been a Catholic sister for 10 years, disrobed, met a man who had been a Jesuit priest who had disrobed, But she was so respectful and so happy to see me. And she said, "Just seeing you reminds me of the time when I was a sister." Yeah. And all I was doing was sitting in the dentist office. Yeah. But there's ways in which you influence people, That's a way where, people recognize. I don't know if she knew I was Buddhist or not. Yeah, but somehow she knew something. Yeah. But then, of course, you get the other people who, this happens to me many times, and it's coming from such a sweet place in people's heart. But I'll be getting on a plane, and somebody will be behind me, and a woman will be behind me and put her hand on my shoulder, and she'll say, "Don't worry, dear, your hair will grow back when the chemo's over." They mean so well, and I have to kind of disappoint them and say, actually, I'm not having chemo. but they mean so well, but, you get that kind of remark. Or sometimes I'm sitting there on a plane. This happens regularly, too. And they'll say, "What would you like to drink, sir?" Or I'll be in the ladies' room, and somebody will come in and go, So I'm waiting, if they pass these transgender bills, am I going to get arrested for being in the ladies' room? Look, I'm, Just because I have a shaved head doesn't mean I'm a man. And then other people coming up and saying, "Not everyone can wear their hair like that, but it looks really good on you." Yeah, I've got many compliments. And I've gotten compliments for my outfit. Yeah, that I have a really nice outfit. So this is all part of it, But what a nice way to be able to interact with other people. Okay. The reason for wearing unattractive monastic clothes is to eliminate clinging and attachment. So those comments where they tell me what a lovely outfit I have. I love the word "my outfit." It's not just my skirt. Yeah, it's not my skirt, and it's not my blouse, and it's not my shawl. It's my outfit. The whole thing, Yeah, coordinated color, Like, oh, I really like that color on you. I get that one too. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So, you wear unattractive monastic clothing, with your zen that falls off your shoulder, and your shemdop that is uneven, that you always have people like me telling you to fix it. And, yeah, but it's, we're deconstructing the typical image of what an attractive person is. And we're doing it for a purpose. Yeah, because we don't want people to like us because we are sexy. That's not why we want to attract people, okay? We don't want to have external beauty. We want to have internal beauty. Because if people are attracted to us due to our internal beauty, then we can do something good. And then also the friendships are really true and reliable. If people are attracted to us because, we externally look so gorgeous, then as the time goes on, what's going to happen to that attraction. Okay. Okay, so before long, you will have the deportment and appearance no different from those of the virtuous ones and sages of the three vehicles. Yeah, wow. Isn't that something to think that I can have not just the appearance, but the deportment of the sages? Because we look around us and we can see, the deportment of the people who have been ordained a long time. We can see the deportment of the people who are good practitioners. And just to think, oh, maybe I can give people that visualization. Mama Yeshe always used to talk about how we give people a visualization. Yeah, so he's not talking about being phony, but, just how you are. It gives people an image of things. I mean, when you stop at a stoplight and the guy in the car next to you is playing rap music, with the decibels way up, they give you a certain visualization, don't they? Yeah. Somebody who is able to walk and speak calmly and be polite is giving another visualization. So here's our Acharya telling us that before long, that's what we'll be able to do. So feel happy and rejoice for yourself. Yeah, no reason to get depressed, no reason to feel sorry for yourself. Yeah. And then they start to cut off the Acharya cuts off the 4 tufts, leaving the center one. Then we have the chant that is. We do have the music for. So guard well your aspiration and guard integrity and aspiration. Cut the bonds of family and kin. Leave your worldly home to practice the Dharma. Aspire to lead all beings to full awakening.
Guard integrity and aspiration, cut the bonds of family and kin. Leave your worldly home to practice the Dharma. Aspire to lead all beings to full awakening.
So this is, just hearing that, guard well your integrity and aspiration. That's letting us know there's something very pure and remarkable and constructive inside of us that we need to respect and to protect, and not take for granted that spiritual yearning, not take for granted, our deep heartfelt aspiration, but to really see that it's precious and protect it. So integrity specifically is a mental factor that keeps us from doing negativities out of self-respect. We respect ourselves, so we don't want to do something that is stupid, We respect our own Dharma practice, so we don't want to contradict it. That's what integrity is. It's one of the 11 virtuous mental factors, and it and consideration for others are the 2 ones that are really important for help protecting us from negativity. So guard that integrity that keeps us going in the right direction, and guard our virtuous aspiration. Don't take it for granted. Just because all your old friends don't have the same aspiration, and just because your family thinks your aspiration is cuckoo, doesn't mean that you depreciate or deprecate yourself. Yeah. I remember when I came back to the States, it must have been 1989, and my brother, who is a radiological oncologist, I finally learned how to pronounce it. Yeah, so he's a doc. So, he's not like that totally. So, no, but doctors have a certain kind of assurance, self-assurance, okay? So he sat me down Amma's older sister, and said, what do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want your life to be in 5 years? This is after I had just come back from India, after spending many years in India. And I said, I want to be a kinder person and a more compassionate person in 5 years. Do you want to have a Dharma center? Do you want to have a monastery? Do you want to set up an institute? You know, kind of, this is what he's thinking, that you have to have something, do something to be prominent. And I said, no, I just want to be a kinder, wiser person in 5 years. That's good enough for me. That's all I want. You know, very hard for him to understand. You don't want a home. You don't want financial security. Yeah, you don't want kids. Yeah, you don't want to go on cruise vacations with our parents. Yeah, it was very hard for him to understand. Okay, so you know, worldly people are not going to understand our life aspiration. They're not. They're going to say, you know, you're wasting your life. You should have financial security. You should have a family. You should make something out of yourself. Yeah, at least be important in some way. Yeah. And you know, our aspiration is for liberation and awakening, and they're going, huh? What's that? So don't expect them to understand. Yeah, don't expect them to understand. Be polite, be kind, cherish your own integrity and aspiration, and know that all your other Dharma friends, you know, or especially your monastic friends, they know what you're talking about, what your life is about. Yeah. It doesn't matter if other people understand or not. It really doesn't. Okay, so cherish our integrity and aspiration. To do that, you know, we have to develop an immunity to what other people think of us, especially worldly people. Because if we're very susceptible to praise and blame, to good reputation and bad reputation amongst worldly people, then we are going to bargain our way, our aspiration and our integrity, so that we look good in their eyes, so that we become what we think they think we should be. So the next line says, cut the bonds of family and kin. Okay, will you read that line there? That first little line there?
Cut the bonds of family and kin. More? Should I read the next one?
Start at the beginning. Read the whole verse.
So it says, guard integrity and aspiration. Cut the bonds of family and kin. Leave your worldly home to practice the Dharma. Aspire to lead all beings to full awakening.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay. So cutting the bonds of family and kin is really important. You know, like I keep saying, you know, they're still your parents. You still send Mother's and Father's Day cards and stuff like that. You know, you're still their son, daughter, whatever. But you're changing the relationship. You're changing the way you relate to them. Yeah. And that's really important, because if you don't, it's going to be hard to keep your integrity and your aspiration. Because they're going to want you to aspire to do something else. And there are people who don't think about rebirth. They don't understand about karma. So, you know, they wish you well. What kind of happiness do they wish you? let's go lie on the beach. Yeah? Let's take a vacation. Let's go to the movies. Let's eat chocolate ice cream. That's, when they're caring about us. Also, they may have demands of us. Yeah? I want you to be like this. I want you to be like this. I want you to be like this. So not just wanting us to be happy, but wanting us to be what they want us to be. Yeah? And if we don't cut the bond of family and kin by letting them know that our priorities have shifted. Yeah? Our priorities are our spiritual aims. Our priorities are of being of benefit to all sentient beings. Yeah. And so it's not that we just kind of, walk in the front door, sit down, cross our legs, take out the TV thing and say, okay, Mom, instead of watching so much TV as we're clicking it, what do you call it, surfing the channels. Yeah, Mom, so, I'm changing the relationship that we're having, so don't expect me home for Sunday night dinner because I ain't coming anymore. That's not how you do it, okay? That's not going to work so well. So you have to do it slowly, gradually, and to know yourself, what you will do and what you won't do. And so that when situations come up, you can say no thank you and be firm about that and explain it if they need an explanation. Yeah. Sometimes our explanation won't make sense to them, so you have to make your explanations exceedingly simple. In my family, if I said, Mom, Dad, I don't want to do that because I'll create negative karma and be born in the lower realms, that's not going to go, they're going to think she's really lost it. Yeah. So, you have to explain it in context without using a bunch of Buddhist context, words that people are totally unfamiliar with. No, I'm working on reducing my selfishness. And so not doing this is going to help me to reduce my selfishness. And you were good parents and you taught me to not be selfish and to be kind and to share. And so what I'm doing as a monastic is expanding on the good basis that you gave me as a child when you brought me up so well. That's what you say. Okay. Then they feel, oh, my kid's appreciating what I went through trying to teach them to be a good adult. And we are appreciating it. Okay. But cut the bonds of family and kin is what we do internally. It doesn't mean you never speak to your family again. Okay. But it doesn't mean you're always available for your family either. Because if you're always available and they're very attached to you, you can expect a phone call every day and they want to tell you what they ate for lunch and what happened at work and school and, and what are you going to say every day about what you did that's going to be of interest to them? Probably not much, but so you have to make yourself available at certain times and not at others, and know how to have a conversation with them that doesn't devolve into talking about all sorts of gossip and criticizing other people and stuff like that. And to have a conversation with them where they know they can not make certain demands on you. Yeah? And of course, you don't make certain demands on them. Like, Mom and Dad, I'm a monastic and I don't have much money. Didn't you say you'd help support me? So, not making hints and demands on the family either. Okay? Leave your worldly home. Why? To practice the Dharma. So again, in one way it's physical. You're going to live in a monastery. You're not living in a worldly home anymore. But more than that, it's mental. Yeah, you're changing your interests. You're changing what you're seeking. Why? Because you really believe in karma. Yeah, and you really want to get out of cyclic existence, and you really want to benefit others in the deepest way possible. Okay, what is that? Aspire to lead all beings to full awakening. Yeah, so that's what we're about. Practicing the Dharma and generating our aspiration to lead all beings to full awakening. Yeah, the basic requirement for this level of ordination is renouncing samsara and aspiring for liberation. But you can see all throughout this text, there's the Mahayana put in. And so this, I think, I've heard that the Chinese say this is one reason why they chose the Dharmaguptaka Vinaya, because it's very compatible with the Bodhisattva vehicle. Yeah. And so you notice that all throughout Vinaya ceremonies, yeah, that there's these sprinklings. Yeah. In the Tibetan Sojung, you chant the Heart Sutra. Yeah. So again, Mahayana is being brought into what is not specifically a Mahayana ordination. It's a fundamental vehicle. So the question is, if you're not cognizant and aware that you're creating merit, are you creating merit? Are you getting benefit? Yes. Yeah, you're still creating merit. You may not remember to dedicate it because you're not thinking I'm creating merit. So that could be something difficult, not dedicating the merit. But yes, you don't have to be thinking, I want to create merit, therefore I'm lifting this thermos to my mouth. That's, yeah. Yeah, we've still created the merit, even though we criticize ourselves afterwards, okay? But that kind of criticism, I think, it makes it more difficult for the merit to ripen. Seems to me, yeah, because merit needs good conditions to ripen in. And when our mind is self-critical, yeah. Okay. But, merit can still ripen, when it's strong merit, it ripens, and there we go. Okay, so it seems people are very self-destructive, very strong self-deprecation, and then thinking, oh, but I am a bodhisattva, or I have the Buddha nature. So it seems like it's too contradictory. This kind of thing happens because people don't understand the Dharma well, because they're still clinging to an I. They're still thinking, I'm a Buddha. Actually, if we look inside, I don't know about you, but I'm not a Buddha. Okay? So, yes, we try and, practice the Bodhisattva vehicle, have pure appearance and things like that. But I'm not a Buddha, and I'm not going to pretend to be a Buddha. Yeah? But I'm also not this lousy, creepy person that I criticize myself to be either. Okay? So you see both of those things, whether, even in a worldly way, whether we're putting ourselves down or whether we're arrogant, both are based on grasping at a real self. And so both are founded on the ignorance that's the root of samsara. Yeah, but who's the you that has the qualities There's not a self-existent real person that has those qualities. You have that potential. Look what you've been able to do in your practice. Don't put yourself down. But that you're talking about is just a merely labeled one. Yeah, it's the conventional person. There's not a real person or soul there that is so fantastic. And this is part of the confusion, I think, that people have about Tantra, is because they don't have a proper foundation for Tantra. So they take the worldly concept of I and then bring that into Tantra and think, I'm a Buddha and I'm a guru and I've actualized this and that. And that's not what Tantra is about. Tantra is based on realizing the emptiness, that there's no kind of truly existent person there who is the owner of those qualities. So there's no you to get proud and arrogant. Yeah, that again, you're having the confidence, but it's based on the conventionally existent person, not on an inherently existent one. Because all you have to do, if you develop the confidence, if you start saying, I can, I can practice compassion towards others. Yeah. If you're thinking, I can practice compassion towards others, you're not practicing compassion towards others. You're on an ego trip, putting yourself up and having contempt for people who are low. If you think, just I can have compassion for others, and you realize that what you're calling I is something that exists simply by being designated on a body and mind. Beyond that, there's no real I that has those qualities. And the others that you're having compassion for, also simply designated in dependence on bodies and mind. Nobody there to have contempt for. Yeah. So that's why understanding emptiness, at least even some idea of emptiness, is prerequisite for tantric practice and for this kind of thing. But I wouldn't say because you're amazing, because those kind of words don't give anybody any kind of useful information. People say you're amazing, you're magnificent, you're far out. What does that tell you? Nothing. If somebody says you have the potential to have compassion for all living beings, oh wow, I have that potential. That doesn't mean I have that compassion now, but I have the potential. I can go towards that. I can work towards that. I'm not some kind of unworthy person who has no good qualities. Yeah? Okay? Yeah, no, you don't go telling you're Buddha already. What do you mean I'm Buddha? Yeah, I'm not Buddha. If I'm Buddha, then, Buddhahood is a hoax. Okay, I'm not Buddha. I have the potential to become one, but I'm not Buddha. And I'm also not a bodhisattva. But there's the potential there that I can build on.